Ah, yes, here we are once again, which of course, as always, means it's Wednesday at noon Eastern Time. It is time for the High Noon Hemp Show. You can find us live and video on demand anytime you want to. You can do that on Facebook at the Temptations Beach Facebook page. Of course, you can also check out the Jedi Hemp YouTube channel and on Twitter at Temptations. If you want the podcast version, the audio only version, you can do that as well. Search the High Noon Hemp Show on Google Play, iHeartRadio, and of course, Podbean. Find us there. Many other places, as I said, live and on demand. Whenever you want to listen, watch, all those options are available for you. I'm Stoner Jesus. You can check me out and search various things I do on interwebs. He is Beach, high above the Temptations in Sharonville at the Hemp Quarters. Beach, how are things this week in the world of Temptations?
Things are deliciously okay. I don't know what that really means in the grand scheme of things, but I see, it's here we are chugging along. Nothing's really changed. Everything's semi good. Doing our thing. It's about all we can do here in the glorious state of Ohio. I did see, and I don't know if I mentioned it, because I meant to, but I did see that the licenses in Ohio are down, even from really not being that high to begin with for the first couple of years that we've been growing industrial hemp. But I did see that this year's less people, and that's kind of a countrywide trend. For what I'm seeing states to state is most states are reporting at this point issuing less licenses to grow hemp. Now, it's not a bad thing because most of that was CBD. We have enough CBD. It would be a bad thing if it was, fiber companies and grain companies that were growing for that, not re-upping their licenses because that would be sad because we want more and more of that stuff, as everybody knows. That's my opinion. Not just my opinion. That's fact. Actually, that's fact. No opinion there. The fact of the matter is we need more fiber grown. We need more grain to be eaten, and all that jazz. So, we'll see. I do think, it's going to be interesting. I don't know if I can find the statistics or the numbers as to how much is actually specifically being grown for grain, how much is specifically being grown for fiber, CBD, and see where those numbers have gone. Obviously, they've had to have gone up for the most part, other than CBD, which is taking a hit everywhere. And it's definitely going to take a hit in Ohio because to get into the game, you couldn't just kind of walk onto the court and play. You got to jump through all kinds of hoops, and you got to get physicals and tested and all kinds of pokes and prods before you can even grow industrial hemp in the state of Ohio. That is what it is. And again, I can't imagine anybody, and I don't know, I haven't heard of anyone yet, and I would love to know if there's anybody out there in Ohio that knows of a farmer that's growing industrial hemp for fiber or grain in Ohio, not CBD. Please let me know. I would love to know. I would love to go see those fields.
Yeah,
honestly, I would love to go through and check out fiber fields, grain fields, just to look at them again. It's just a big field of hemp, big huge field of hemp. Everything's close together. It looks more like a crop. When you grow for CBD, they're growing for flower, so they're individual plants in the field. It's less farming as managing plants daily. But I would love to go somewhere local and check out a fiber or a grain crop in the fall when it's nice and tall. See y'all. I'll try to incorporate a rhyme into every show now. I don't know why. My brain likes to rhyme all these words.
So much on the show.
So much. And as I have added just recently to the beginning of this show, I would like to say that the FDA has not evaluated this show for safety or efficacy.
That's right.
Nor have they done that for CBD Or now I'm seeing Kratom, which is another all natural product that we sell. The FDA's the new FDA guy is supposedly saying that we need to do something with CBD and Kratom, and so we'll see what happens there. I suppose one way or another. Being all natural, they can't really do much about them other than finally say yes, they're okay for us. And then we just then everything goes crazy with adding CBD to everything, and probably Delta 8 and all that other stuff. And I'll get to more on that later because we have big government decisions on that as well. But let's get straight to the product spotlight. Four from the store, one from my door, as I like to say, where we focus on hemp products that we carry in Hemptations, and also something that I like to have in my personal. These are the new THCO gummies. We've had the THCO disposable vapes have been super popular, so we brought on the THCO gummies. Just like, and I've been saying this more recently with a lot of the industrial hemp products that we sell. Try at home first. Make sure, see how it affects you. See how THCO affects you. Again, we're coming up with all these more extracts and isolates and cannabinoids. And so, be careful. Be careful with that. Everything affects everybody a little differently. And so, just a heads up there on that. Something you probably don't have to worry about is Laura's bath bombs. Because I turned the picture sideways. Whoops. Those should be safe. Don't fall asleep in the bathtub because you're so relaxed from a lavender CBD bath. But other than that, pretty should be pretty okay. Of course, I would still say try at home because you don't want to take these to a stranger's bathtub.
That's right. During a dinner party or something.
Try at home first before you decide to take the bath bombs out into public and try them. You never know. Here's a good summer. Spring is sprung and summer is here and kind of whatever. And I know I kind of showed these in the spring as well. That hacky sacks, one of our tried and true hemp products we've been carrying probably since we opened. I would have to say that the crocheted hacky sacks made from hemp have probably been around forever. And then the ones on the right, which is more of the fabric, you get your 8-panel and you get your different types of stuff inside. Again, it's the world of hacky sacks is vast, my friends. It's not just a sack full of hack. That hack can be different. The fibers can be different. They can be soft. They can be hard. They're just, if you're playing catch, you play with the soft ones. If you're hitting it back and forth, you play with the harder ones. That's the way I think that breaks down too for all you people out there that don't really know what is the purpose of hacky sack. It's just good hand-foot coordination. That's all it is, I think that, and it's been around as long as soccer's been popular in the United States. Not as long as soccer's been around in the United States, as long as it's been popular. And I can only imagine, that soccer players playing hacky sack would help with their hand-foot coordination and precision and putting their foot, in places, micro inches as opposed to just kicking the ball, which is what it looks like they're doing. They're not, I swear. The last one is, an essential product, summer, fall, spring. If you drink coffee and you use a filter or filters, paper filters, get rid of that idea. The next time you run out of paper filters, get yourself a Planet Everywhere hemp coffee filter, and never buy another coffee filter again. Should last a lifetime. I've been using the same coffee filters for 10, 15 years. honestly. Now, one of the ones I have is a little thicker than these. These are thinner. These are actually better, in my opinion, than the one that I have, which is really kind of a thicker canvasy hemp. And then I have another thin one too, because I have some Planet Everywhere ones. But my original one that I've had that we used to sell in the stores 15, 20 years ago, still doing it, a little thicker, but it's still doing it. And again, I just dump it out every once in a while. You rinse it out, depending on how often you use it. If you use it every day, just dump out the old grains and put in new grains, really, and you're pretty much good to go. You can, once again, run it under the water a little bit, rinse it out. You're still good to go. So there you have it, Planet Everywhere coffee filters, reusable coffee filter. I shouldn't say filters, filter, just one. Just get one, have it forever. That's the way that should work. This last one I just got out. This is if you're going to do yoga, I suppose doing yoga on a hemp mat in this environment would be great. This is out at our farm, which I just moved my hemp mat out there, my hemp yoga mat out there, so I can start working out on the farm in the beautiful nature with all the birds chirping. All the birds. There's a lot of birds chirping. I've never heard so many birds chirping in my life. No, I have, because I used to live on a farm, but it's been a long time. Chirping birds are happy birds. That's the way we like it.
That's right.
Chirping birds are happy birds. Speaking of birds, we did just get ourselves some chickens. We got some chickens now.
Wow.
Got ourselves some layers. We will eventually start feeding them hemp, and mixed with their organic feed. Yes, they will be organic. So the eggs will be organic and delicious when they start laying, which is a while away because they're just little babies. And we will feed them hemp feed, organic hemp seed. Probably I need to pick some up, get some, and then start incorporating a little bit into their diet now. But which also makes for happy birds. It's a proven fact. I don't know if it's a proven fact, but there was always a myth. I don't know. I don't want to call it a myth. A fact that was passed around about hemp bird seed. And supposedly the birds that were fed mining birds, the birds that were in the mines, and again, if you don't know, they kept birds in the mines so that when the bird died, they knew that the gases were too much. Okay, that was the whole bird's job. Well, it would sing and chirp and be alive. Okay. And then if something happened to the bird went bye-bye, then they knew that they were in trouble with gases. And again, the rumor was back in the day, the fact that I had learned back in the day was that the birds that were fed hemp seed did sing louder and were happier birds. If you look at the ingredients of most exotic bird feed, it'll have hemp seed in it. I have found that before. I need to look at next time I go to the pet store, I'm gonna double check and see what's out there as far as exotic bird feed and see if it's got hemp in it. But I remember looking at exotic bird feed at the pet store years and years and years ago, and sure enough, it had some hemp seed in it. So good for them. Make your bird exotic. Feed it hemp. It'll be happy. It's true. But not if you're going to sell those products, because it has not been approved yet for livestock in the United States. Either way. All right. So there you have it, folks. The product spotlight: 4 from the door, 4 from the store, 1 from my door.
Which, of course, brings us to the greatest segment in internet history. I'll keep saying it. I'll say it every week. I don't care. Stop me. Try and stop me from saying it each week. It's where fashion and hemp collide, and where a lot of you get your ideas for fashion because you're lost without it. So you look to Beach, and that's why we're here every week. One of the reasons we're here every week, but maybe it's the most important of all of the reasons, the many, many reasons. We do the Beachwear segment. When I ask Beach a very important question, he answers both with his words and with the cool pictures he took of himself in his clothes. What are you wearing, Beach?
That's right. If you're curious, you're saying, hey, what are you wearing, Beach? Now you will know. Yellow and green. Now, this is a combination you don't see a whole lot on the old Beach, I have to say. Felt kind of weird wearing it, yellow and green. But it's working, and so we're doing it. Once again, kind of started with the shoes. My hat, though, is a PhD. That's right. PhD was the name of the company. Pro Hemp hat. And I don't know. They do have an actual website on the label. It's 100% hemp. It was made in, where was it made again? Some interesting country. The Dominican Republic.
Wow.
And again, this is definitely one of my older hats, without a doubt. I have had this Pro Hemp hat for a long time because I am Pro Hemp. It's true. My T-shirt is a Young Maven Bunbury shirt. We used to vend at Bunbury, which was a big music festival here. But it is a big music festival here, 3-day festival that they do. It was probably one of the cooler music festivals they have brought to Cincinnati in a long time. So we vended there for probably about the first 3 or 4 years even. And we had printed shirts up that we printed here at Planet Everywhere. My shorts are a good old pair of Hempies surf shorts. You can see in my pocket there, if you look real close, it's almost hidden, is my Hemptations Green Spring Technologies pen. Underneath it all, bringing together my head case boxer briefs. Again, probably had those for 20 years. And then the socks I believe they're Hempist. I'm almost sure that they were Hempist. I'm not positive they were Hempist. And then those are good old-fashioned pair of New Balance running shoes. Now, I think the only hemp, unfortunately, they do have hemp, but as the tongue, this is back to some of these shoe companies just barely using hemp, the tongue and the shoelaces, I believe, were actually hemp. And I don't know about too much more on the shoe itself. So there you have it. If you are curious, you were curious, what are you wearing, Beach? Now you know, on the High Noon Hemp Show, here, as we are on the High Noon Hemp Show, here. All right, all kinds of good stuff going on in the world of hemp this week, that's for sure. The biggest news is that the U.S. Court of Appeals has held up the legality of all hemp products. This was over Delta 8. Basically, what they said was Delta 8 THC qualifies as a legal substance under the present federal definition of hemp, which is basically any part of the cannabis plant, all derivatives, extracts, and cannabinoids, as long as when growing, you are under that 0.3% threshold. This was kind of over, I think, the DEA trying to get involved with Delta 8. This went all the way from one of the states. I don't know what this was really about, but I do think it was the DEA raising their head up and trying to act like Delta 8 was illegal or whatever, or it was a state, one way or another. So this definitely backs up what we've been saying and what is the truth on the legality of any of these substances. THCO, HHC, Delta 8, Delta 9, Delta 10, CBD, CBG, CBN, all of them. Those are the ones I can think of off the top of my head that I know that we carry, and that they all come from industrial hemp. Okay, even the THC Delta 9. And this may be the next thing we hear from the U.S. Court of Appeals. I mean, I wish the DEA would shut up, because yes, Delta 9, THC Delta 9 is 100% legal. 100% federally legal if extracted from industrial hemp, which it is. If you want to know how that science really works, to me, this is kind of, I don't know if it's science or what, but this is how it worked. Anyone that was making CBD isolate or CBG isolate or isolating, okay, they end up with THC because there's that 0.3%. All right. And again, I haven't run the numbers to figure out how many pounds and whatever you would need to really come up with a substantial amount of THC, but it doesn't matter, because once that THC is extracted that Delta 9 THC is extracted from industrial hemp. It's an industrial hemp product. It's originally what was called the source law, which is why the DEA shouldn't have even raised their head up, because they should just go back over their paperwork and be like, oh, we've been through this so many times. I mean, literally been through this so many times. The fact of the matter is, all they have to do is ask themselves, easy question, did they get it from industrial hemp? Did they get it from what they call marijuana? What I call cannabis that's not industrial hemp? I don't know what to call. I don't know what to call it, because, it's all cannabis. Mm-hmm. And really the only difference is that 0.3% THC or lower is industrial hemp. That 0.3% or higher, or 0.4% or higher, makes it marijuana, which is still federally illegal in the United States. And hopefully not for much longer. Call your state representatives and senators and all those state or federal employees that you have voted into office and tell them to pass the MORE Act. That would take cannabis off the controlled substance list and immediately begin to expunge federal non-violent drug charges. It's genius. Every state should be doing it. Every government should be doing it. Everyone do it. Here's an interesting statistic, and I'm not sure how they really got this statistic, but this statistic says that only 7% of CBD products are tested for pesticides and heavy metals, which is a staggering low number. Now, I wonder how many vitamin C companies, like your supplement, you go to Walgreens to buy your vitamin C, a little tablet of vitamin C. Are all those tested for all that stuff? You might be surprised to find out that they are not. I know there's a parts per million that, and I don't know that you even have to test your products for the parts per million. To me, it's probably one of those things where if something happened, you ended up making people sick with your food or whatever, then you go back and you start testing your parts per million, and there can be parts per million of a lot of terrible, terrible things that you don't want in your food.
Yeah.
It's that parts per million number has been approved for all kinds of things that are not good. Because you can't say zero, you just can't say 0.00000%. You just can't. There's a parts per million of something that could breeze in on the wind and land on something, and then it's a tiny amount, but it's still not zero. Which is what started the whole lawsuit against the DEA originally, is that they were trying to say, well, you have to say 0.0000% THC in the hemp food. And again, even though there's no THC in hemp food, it's still unquestionable to say you can't have even trace amounts of parts per million, so to speak. And so, that was a part of the hemp food issue in the DEA. And that we resolved by saying, guess what? If you can have a certain amount of parts per million of bug matter, why can't you have just a little bit of parts per million from THC or fecal matter or anything, arsenic even? There is a parts per million for all these things that is acceptable, that are not good for us, period. So anyway, it is true that it is up to the industry for the most part, especially in states like in Kentucky. If the CBD came from Kentucky, there are no approved pesticides to use in Kentucky. There are no approved herbicides to use on industrial hemp in Kentucky, so they can't use any. Again, I've always said it's organic by nature. It's all natural by nature. It doesn't require, I think that, when grown for CBD, they're really having to manage things because, there's states where they're probably growing for CBD where they might be using some stuff that you don't want them to be using. I'll wholeheartedly believe that, because I'm sure, there is stuff in states still that they're using on cannabis THC Delta 9 heavy, that I don't want. I want all my cannabis to be organic. I don't care what it is, whether it's in a pair of jeans or it's going into my lungs. I want all my cannabis to be organic, because it can be. Now, again, it's a lot harder to grow the flower organically and get the results that they want, because they're juicing it up with all kinds of stuff and pesticides to keep the pests away. There are no known pests for the grain crop. There are no known pests for the fiber crop. There are quite a bit of known pests for the flower crop, whether CBD or THC or CBG or whatever it may be. That's not going away. That's nature being attracted to the plant. Humans say it's got a terrible smell, but animals obviously love it because they're drawn to it in all kinds of different forms to eat it. I can't believe more skunks, and they probably do. More skunks don't eat cannabis, just thinking it's like mating season or something. I don't know. It does leave the question: do skunks mate in cannabis fields when they're in the fall? Anyway, and so yes, we're that CBD is in many industries that already involve over-the-counter industries are self-regulating. You can look at a bottle of vitamins and you can see, oh, well, they've been, approved by the independent vitamin people of the world, which means they probably have some standards. But, there's nothing to say that they have to, that they're making their vitamins in a clean facility. Can only hope. But anyway. So, 7% seems awful low for CBD products. But, find out. If you buy there are no pesticides or herbicides used or heavy metals used on the Temptations brand CBD. I know that. And so, know your brand. That's for sure. One way or another. Know your brand. I like that. Minnesota has passed hemp reforms allowing the hemp-derived THC to be legally sold in edibles and drinks 21 and older. So again, here we go. Minnesota they were probably like, we need to make Delta 8 illegal. And then all of a sudden they're like, wait a minute. It is federally legal. So they went the same route that Georgia went, which is probably what we will start seeing more and more from smart states if they want to do anything with these industrial hemp extracts, and they really should just stay out of it. Although, I don't, that might make sense. I don't know. Is that they're putting age restrictions on them. So that's what Minnesota did basically, was they just made an age restriction for hemp-derived THC. Once again, legal. That even, I think they were even talking about Delta 9, whether it's Delta 9, Delta 8, Delta 10, or whatever. But legal to be sold in edibles and drinks as long as you're 21 and older. And so, again, I think we see a lot more states, when they try to go to make Delta 8 or whatever illegal, I think that's what we're going to hopefully see, at least, is that they don't make them illegal, is that maybe they just put an age restriction on them. That's all I need. In Georgia, they added an extra tax. So we may see that come along. I don't know, which just confuses the issue, and it shouldn't happen. There's not an extra tax on Sudafed or, any of those over-the-counter supplements and things that may or may not be psychoactive in the long run. And so, maybe an age restriction. As long as the worst case scenario is they just make them illegal. Best case scenario is they put some silly restrictions on them, add some taxes or whatnot. And so, we'll see. We'll see how that goes along. All in all, no rumors out of Ohio yet. They tend to just leave it alone, and I think they will just leave it alone for now. So we'll see. But as more and more states do this, that may change. We may see more and more states restricting the age of who can purchase these these totally legally extracted cannabinoids and all that. So anyway, this is kind of fun only because I just love the colors that this guy picked for the CBD vending machines. But this is in Austin, Texas. These colors may look semi. If we use a bright green, this is exactly the scheme of colors that we use. Now, we usually use a darker green. I kind of go with the darker green. But if we use a fluorescent green, this is exactly purple and green. That's our scene. And these are, this is just going to be a CBD. But I did see, but once again, they're calling them CBD vending machines, but they're going to have Delta 8 in them. Before you know it, they're going to have Delta 9 in them. They're going to have Delta 10, HHC, GHCO. You'll just be able to go and you'll be able to get whatever cannabinoid you want right out of the vending machine. And so I like his ingenuity there with his makeshift ladder.
Yeah.
Pallets can do so much in the world. We need to make those out of hemp someday, which would be really tough and expensive. But man, if we could replace all the pallet wood in the world with hemp wood, the trees would definitely be fucking loving us. Excuse my French, but it is that important. Every once in a while, I let a cuss word slip by because I'm just that passionate when I think about some of these things. It happens, folks. It's just that important that we replace all the pallets, just the pallets in the world, with something better than something that came from a tree. I mean, that's probably, I bet deforestation alone claims like half the forest just to make freaking pallets. Yeah. Anyway, don't think about these things too much, Beach. Argentina has passed a medical cannabis and industrial hemp law. And so Argentina is going to start getting into the industrial hemp part of things, probably so they can grow industrial hemp legally there, as well as their medical cannabis. I love this, that it's medical cannabis and industrial hemp. That's it. That's the way it should be. Maybe we just call it. I don't like calling it recreational cannabis. I do believe the statement that all cannabis use is medical. And so calling all cannabis use medical is, but then people be like, oh, well, you're just rationalizing that people want to get high, which is kind of true. But, I feel like I enjoy cannabis and have used cannabis even at a young age as medicine. Again, I carry my stress in my gut a lot from high school. I went to the hospital once with gut issues that they couldn't figure out. And all in all, as an adult, I really think it was stress. I didn't think I really had a stressful life, but in high school for sure. But, I was a busy kid. Straight A's, basketball. I had a part-time job, blah, blah, blah. And so that was kind of when I first started realizing, I truly believe that using cannabis, I think that's why I started using cannabis in the mornings. First thing you got to do is get high, then, whatever. But that's not true. I think because it had helped settle and ease my stomach and get on my day better, one way or another. That's why I really like using, say, CBD and actually Delta 8. I mean, I noticed my gut reacting well to Delta 8 right after the first time I used it. That's just me. I think we're finding other people are benefiting from gut issues by using Delta 8. We'll see as it's around longer, we're getting more feedback. That's just me. And so, again, I think all cannabis use is medical. 2022. The article was titled Best Body Lotions, Creams, Salves, and Oils for Healthy Skin. 8 out of 10 of these products had CBD in them. Okay. And it wasn't, I don't know how, it was an article that's selling stuff, but not really. And again, they were all different companies. It wasn't just, one or two different companies, best this, best that, but they had 10 categories, and 8 out of 10 of those categories, the lotion had CBD in it. Now, what I was super disappointing is I don't know if any of them actually had hemp oil, which is ridiculous. Because really the best lotions, creams, salves, and oils for healthy skin would have both. And honestly, they would start with hemp oil first, seed oil, to be clear, seed oil, because it is known to be healthy to the skin, because again, it is the right viscosity to absorb. And so when it absorbs into the skin, your skin gets the nutrients, the protein, the omegas, all that stuff that is contained in industrial hemp grain seed. And so, we know that CBD absorbs in and helps. It doesn't go to the bloodstream. But I think for, truly healthy skin, you got to start with hemp oil and then add CBD to that. That's one reason why we use hemp oil as our base for our CBD products. It's because you can use it topically too, if you want. So put it under the tongue or put it on the skin. Either way, you'll get the benefits. North Carolina, I know I reported this recently, as of June 30th, if North Carolina doesn't do something, all hemp becomes illegal in the state of North Carolina as of June 30th if they don't change something. Looks like they're going to change something. They're working on what's called the Farm Act of 2022. And so what this will do, and I'm sure that hopefully they will figure out how to pass it by June 30th. They've got a month and a half. I'm sure they'll figure it out. As again, it'll just make their laws compliant with the federal laws, and they'll just kind of go on doing what they're doing, in all honesty. But the original law that they passed to make industrial hemp legal when the original Farm Bill, I think, passed, or maybe the second Farm Bill, 2018, had a timeline, and that timeline is now up. And so they have to do something, or all hemp products, even jeans, I believe. I don't know if that's true or not, but can you imagine? They didn't do this, and then all of a sudden, like, your clothing store had to worry about selling hemp jeans in the state of North Carolina. They will do something. North Carolina has become a huge grower of industrial hemp. They have to look at the licenses and the numbers there and say, well, we can't go backwards. That would just be stupid. So hopefully they'll move forward with the Farm Act of 2022 in North Carolina, and that'll solve their issues for now and not make hemp illegal. According to Rivet Magazine article, denim producers put on a variety show at the Denim PV. And I know I saw a couple articles about the Denim PV, which is obviously the big jean, because denim is what we make jeans out of, just so you know. Okay, it originally comes from Denim, France. Denim, I was probably not pronounced like that in France, but that's where the weave of denim came from, which is the weave that we use for jeans. That's how that works. Okay. Levi's jeans did not originally have hemp in them. That is a rumor started that is not true. Gold miners, or mining for gold panners or whatever, they probably used pants that were made out of the hemp canvas that made its way across the country, with wagons and whatnot. And it was probably very popular because it was super strong, so they could put the rocks in their pockets and collect them. Maybe that's where the rumor started from. Doesn't have anything to do with Levi's. Levi's became popular as jeans in the strength of their pockets, which was an important part of the Levi company becoming so popular because of the rivets. Ironically, Rivet Magazine. It's all about, I think, the denim industry and the jean industry. It's all coming together, isn't it? But that's what separated Levi's from all other jeans at the time, or denim pants, is that they started riveting the seams of the pockets. All of a sudden, their pockets were stronger than everybody else's. Okay, and so I have found zero proof yet, and I've done the research. I've been doing the research. Love to prove myself wrong. That Levi used hemp in their jeans. They always used to say that again because they were popular with the gold miner, the gold people. But I think that the hemp pants that would have probably been popular with those people would have been made out of the old sailcloth that was made into canvas or made into coverings for wagons and clothing and all that, and made its way west. Hemp clothing was still a pretty big deal, and so that's where we are their way. Now, what I think is interesting, okay, so what they basically said in the article is the mills have been working overtime to make hemp fibers feel and look more like cotton, which is the way, I suppose. I feel like my Kentucky Hemp Outfitter jeans feel just like any other pair of jeans I've had. I mean, they used a little bit of a softer weave or something maybe, but I mean, for 100%, they feel like any other pair of jeans, and they've definitely softened up the more I wear them. Now they're just like trying to make the hemp soft right out of the gate, which is going to weaken it, I'm sure, which is stupid. Here we have it. The reason we want to use it to begin with is because it's so much stronger than cotton. But I really feel like softening in it is going to make it weaker and make it not as good of a product as it would be if it was just 100% hemp woven the right way. Wash your jeans. I mean, yeah, I had to wash my jeans a couple times before they weren't stiff anymore. But again, that's something that, we used to say a lot, and we need to say more again with hemp clothing, especially like 100%, is it wears in. It doesn't wear out. So you got to wear it a little bit and wash it a little bit. It's actually good for it to soften it up. And then, again, it just keeps going one way or another. I think I only have 2 pairs of jeans of my original Kentucky Hemp Outfitters that I've just worn and washed so much that they are finally like holes and falling apart. But I probably have 20 pairs. And I'm just always, in the winter, I'm always revolving, wearing them all the time. I usually get at least 2 wears out of them before I wash them, maybe 3. Again, and again, I can't argue with the idea because it's the same argument as to why a vegan burger needs to look, taste, and feel and bleed, if it has to, like a meat burger in order to get meat burger people to eat it. Pure and simple. Maybe it's the same with jeans. In order to get jean people to wear hemp jeans, they have to be soft. I think the jean world is getting a little, I don't know, man. Jeans were never soft in high school. I know that's something that people like now is like soft material jeans, but we just had to wear ours in a little bit, no matter what they're made out of. But it's just more good news. If it's an issue, then people are doing it, and that's good. It's making the news here on the High Noon Hemp Show. Here's bad news. CBD stores are getting raided in Topeka, Kansas. And it's just this one county in Kansas. Literally, the store that got raided in Kansas, they moved one county over, was welcomed with open arms, and they're fine. Kansas is not a cannabis-friendly state. Never has been. Not sure it ever will be. Now, my understanding is of course, the raids were on Delta 8, and they had no legal precedent, which is what we're going to find next, because they had no legal precedent for the raids to begin with. The funny thing is the store only had to go one county over, and they were fine. They had no problem. Topeka's a big city, I thought. I feel like what a ridiculous thing to do in such a larger market. But in the same sense, job security. If they think Delta 8 is illegal, then the cops, of course, are going to run around to every CBD shop they can, every store they think might be selling Delta 8. I mean, the question is, are they going down to the local gas station? Because they're selling Delta 8. Yeah. Go into any gas station and look. You'll find it, right? With their nicotine vape products or their CBD vape products or whatever, they now have Delta 8. And they're starting to pick up. And again, that's just your everyday, anywhere gas station. Sell, Shell, doesn't matter. And so I feel like in the long run, and hopefully they got checked or something happened quicker than sooner or later, they could run around Topeka. You could run around Cincinnati for weeks raiding people for Delta 8. I know Topeka's not that big, but either way, they probably look at it as job security, even though they don't even freaking know the laws to which they are enacting, because the police will wholeheartedly tell you that doesn't matter. It's for the courts to decide. We're under the impression something's illegal. We're going to arrest you for it. If it's not really illegal, well, that's not our problem anymore because we're done with you. It's the court's problem. That's our great, awesome legal system that we have here in the United States. Is you can literally be arrested for anything. And the cops will not be held accountable because guess what? At that point, it goes to the court system.
Yep.
And if you're innocent, you'd have found out there. And, that's what I don't, I feel like, there is no checks, and we don't know of any checks and balances of all the people that have found innocent to being charged. And it's like, those numbers are probably staggering. They don't want us to know that. Honestly, I don't know what the falsely accused or falsely arrested number is. And again, probably because the court systems aren't, they know once you get to court, you're screwed too, because you're probably poor. You don't know the laws. You can't afford an attorney. And you're just going to be like, oh, no, I'm not. That's not bad. I mean, it is bad, but it shouldn't be that way. But that's the way a lot of people are. And then the next thing you know, you find yourself in jail. Mm-hmm. You're like, what the heck just happened? And so, that's part of the system. It's wrong. And the police raiding places, not even knowing whether something's illegal or legal or not, is a huge cannabis issue and has always been a huge cannabis issue. So, it's just ridiculous. Well, an article, Best White Sneakers. I found this funny. Best White Sneakers for Women in 2022. Right in the middle of the list with Rothy's Lace Up. I think I got a picture of these. And the thing is they're not white, which is also a good thing because that means they weren't bleached. They are actually what we like to call natural in the hemp world, because that's just natural hemp color. It's really light here, but not white. But I do love the fact that they made the list. Again, these are Rothy's, and I do believe these were women's shoes for the most part that they were talking about. And it had your traditional Reebok white, solid white shoes to some other exotic ones, but right in the middle of the list was this pair of hemp ones, which I thought was pretty cool, one way or another, because they could have technically said they're not white in themselves. That's how picky the fashion industry is. So, and if you do want to actually see white in hemp, and I don't know how they accomplished this, but this is, where did it go? Volbach is the name of the company. Vollebak. They're releasing their hemp hoodie and sweatpants in white. Interesting enough. And once again, I'm not sure I like the idea, because in order to make hemp white, you almost have to bleach it. So, but it is once again the first step to getting t-shirt people to wear hemp t-shirts. Might be the fact that we never really had a mostly white t-shirt, but not a true hemp white t-shirt, unfortunately. And so, but again, more clothes being made out of hemp is the goal. Apparently, it needs to be softer and wider. Terrible. That sounds racist in some way. Thailand. How about Thailand? Thailand has legalized industrial hemp in the last year or two, I believe, and they've also approved medical cannabis. They're going to give away 1 million industrial hemp plants in Thailand. I don't know where you go stand in line to get your, and again, 0.2% or less THC. I don't know if their law is 0.2% or less, or their law is 0.3%, and they're producing. They've found this plant, apparently, that they've bred or whatever themselves, or in the government. I don't know. That's 0.2% or less. But 1 million free cannabis plants available in Thailand. Thailand, go. If you live there, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Phuket, go get yourself some cannabis plants. For all you geographically lacking people out there, Phuket is like one of the hottest vacation spots in Thailand. And it can be pronounced F because it's Phuket. So that's kind of the joke between Phuket, Thailand. It's a good place to go and say Phuket. And now you can have free cannabis plants. Thailand, man. Awesome. Good for them. Here's interesting. Speaking of Phuket, an article. What is the strongest male enhancement pill on the market? This was in Science News or part of Science News or something, I forget. But number two on the list, and I think they had like 10 products or something, maybe, I don't remember. But number 2 was just a CBD pill, CBD capsule, 25 milligrams of CBD. Now, I've been approached by friends that wanted to try CBD for ED. I went and did a little research, and there is some ideology, again, right now, all we really have is correlation, because CBD reduces stress. That may help. They think that there may be some vascular issues that CBD helps with that could help. And so, we're starting to see a little bit more and more as far as CBD as a sexual aid. And so, I haven't gotten, much feedback, and I don't think, it's not one of those things that people like to run around talking about. I can only imagine, honestly, how difficult it is. It's one of those things, if you got a problem, you got a problem, talk about it. Tell everybody until you fix it if you want it fixed. I'm not starting to run around telling everybody you got issues, but I'm just saying you can't hide it and expect to get results. That's for sure. And if CBD can help with that, then by all means, that's, from the commercials I see on TV, it's a product that men want and need. And I'm almost surprised at this point that I don't see a commercial for like some Hempvana freaking sexual aid something. Because and I half make fun of them. They're one of the biggest brands out there, and they're doing a great job marketing themselves. But they've actually come up with a product that I'm pretty sure, and I think I talked about it, how it's supposed to straighten your posture, and they're actually using hemp fiber in it too. It's like they have some really bizarre products that they're coming out with ancillary as they find out about how good hemp is, just because they started putting CBD and I think hemp oil too. I think Hempvana is actually hemp oil in their cream and whatnot. So just proving it, obviously, that it is good one way or another. Actually, I don't know if that proves it's good or not, but only using it would prove that it's good or not to any individual. We got millions of people that eat industrial hemp that know that it's good for them, I think. And millions and millions and millions of people that use cannabis for other things. And, I'd like to think there's a million people in the United States that at least have one piece of hemp clothing, but I don't know if that's true. Honestly, that's the tell you. There's a lot of people in the United States, but to even think that 1 million of them, there were a million people in the United States that had one article of hemp clothing, I'd be pretty happy with that, honestly, because I doubt that it's true. I'm just saying, one way or another. 100% of those have a cotton shirt. 100% of the people in the United States own a cotton shirt. Oh, this is kind of cool. Not too far away, so I might have to go check it out. I'm not positive where in Illinois this is, but the Great Godfrey Corn Maze is becoming the Great Godfrey Hemp Maze this year. So this is like a famous corn maze, apparently semi-famous corn maze that happens every year in Illinois. Well, this year they're not growing corn. This year they're growing hemp, which to me is also one of the greatest things I could hear. In all honesty, corn or hemp is so much. If they're growing for grain, for food product, hemp is 100% better as a food product for the human body than corn. Not 99%, not 98%, 100%. 100% better than corn, because the corn has no nutritional value, folks. Hemp is like 100% nutritional value. No, it's all nutrition in its food. So I'm gonna have to go look exactly, and it's in Godfrey, Illinois. So Godfrey, find out where Godfrey, Illinois is, if you're close to there. And of course, it'll be the fall. Obviously, it's not happening yet. I think they're just trying to tell everybody now, get it out there. If you're showing up for the corn maze in the fall, it's going to be hemp. That corn's going to look a little funny, but great. All right, this last little bit of news is local news to me. I should have probably done this in the opening. I don't know why I didn't do this in the opening scene, but we needed toothpaste. So Mary went to the store to get us some groceries, and lo and behold, what did she find? Good old Burt's Bees charcoal and hemp seed oil toothpaste. Now I did find charcoal and hemp seed toothpaste online, and I was using it for a while until the tube ran out. And I kind of switched because I kind of go through and try to find different. I was using the CBD that we carry toothpaste, which I need to probably start using again, because I really do think that that's a great CBD on the to fight inflammation in your gums, which are always inflamed or trying, go under a lot of stress, is a great idea. And so this is just hemp oil. I think what I love is the flavor is hemp seed oil mint. Now I've used it, and I can't say that, I can taste the hemp oil. Hemp oil does have I can't say it's delicious. It's not terrible, but hemp oil itself is not the most delicious oil to just take a spoonful of. Nutritionally, it's a great idea, but it is what it is when it comes to the taste a little bit. It does have a particular taste. So I think it's fun that they actually the flavor of the toothpaste is hemp seed oil mint. Even though you can barely taste the mint, you can barely taste the charcoal, and you can barely taste the hemp, which is really the way it should be. You don't want a bunch of strong flavorings in your toothpaste. And of course, it's fluoride free. All the things you want in your hemp toothpaste or not want are not in there when it comes to Burt's Bees. And Burt's Bees has been on the hemp for a while, man, a long time. They've been incorporating hemp into this product and that product. And I'm glad to see that they're expanding their line of hemp seed oil products. Great world. All right. A little bit of events This weekend, May 27th through the 30th, you have the Hemp Aid at Rainbow Farms in Vandalia, Michigan. June 4th, the Hempcrete Hemp Trials and Nutrient Management Consideration at the Mighty Thundercloud Edible Forest, Bird's Nest, Virginia, on that one. June 17th to 18th, one of my favorites, Hemp in the Holler, down in Mount Vernon, Kentucky. June 24th, 26th, you have the Southern Atlantic Hemp and Arts Expo, Fletcher, North Carolina. And that's really about it. Not too much going on in the hemp world these days. Thanks, everybody, for watching the High Noon Hemp Show. And remember, reduce, reuse, recycle. Make everything else out of hemp. Having temptations.
See y'all next week.